What is up, ladies and gentlemen of YouTube, and welcome back to Mind of a Savage. I'm your host, Felipe Savage. Today is a good day, ladies and gentlemen. To be honest with you, it's what Sunday afternoon. Weather's looking nice, family's good, everybody's healthy, and boy, I'm gonna just jump straight into today's podcast. I'm gonna talk a little bit about a few video games, but more importantly, the big E3, um, Sony presentation, Xbox presentations that may be happening in the next couple of months. I thought it was about time, just get ahead of the game as fast as I possibly can and just give out some predictions, what I think we're going to see, what games we might see, so hopping straight into it, man. Let's go on board with like just if E3 is happening, with COVID and everything. So far we've seen a lot of good things, as in like E3 most likely will be happening this year. Now who's attending? That's a different story because we had last year where PlayStation did their own thing, Xbox did their own thing, and they both basically had like two each. So like two presentations. I know Sony had one in the summertime and then one again like in September. I believe around the same thing with Xbox. So we've seen a lot of games in the past couple E3s that out of the 50 games, let's say they show 50 games, we only get like three that year for that year. And I know E3 is that point where everyone tries to just hype up as much as they can in the video game world. We had the release of the PS5 and the Series X, so that was huge for last year. But now let's talk video games for those games, and more importantly, games that like have to be good. You know, like let's break it down like console by console in the sense of Xbox, PlayStation, and then we'll do like E3 as a whole, like like Nintendo, what they might release, and PC games, what they might release. Let's go with PlayStation first. And right now on my mind, I'm really thinking about like Horizon Forbidden West, the next installment of God of War, and IPs that they say they're working on. Like I recently read in an article that they have about like 20 to 25 games going for the PS5 right now that are in like production and making, and they're doing all that stuff. But if we could take it on over to Horizon um Forbidden West real quick and speak about like just Alloy or Eloy, however you say her name. She has over the years she has. I'm almost certain before like Ghost of Tsushima, she was like possibly Horizon as the video game was possibly one of those games that was like, okay, this is that new generation God of War style, something that you're gonna see, Horizon 05, so to speak. So um I I I personally enjoyed that game. I know that that was one game that I bought the PS4 for, and it was a game that I instantly was hooked to. The just the way everything was in that game, it was very well put together. It was a very well put together game. And now that their presentation or the PlayStation presentation or E3, whatever, however they show it this year, that game's gonna come out. They still saying that it's gonna come out in 2021, and it's gonna be cross generational. So, that being said, I expect for that to be like the number one game PlayStation is going to be showing. So expect 10-minute gameplays, cinematics, just a bunch of things on Horizon Forbidden West for PlayStation. You gotta expect it because and I know I speak about Fortnite every freaking podcast, guys, and y'all have to understand how huge Fortnite is with marketing that her being introduced into that game just shows you how far PlayStation is willing to go in the sense of advertising that game to the masses. And if you don't expect for them to have, you know, hands-on gameplay, maybe a demo, maybe a full release date, you know, you're probably under a rock right now. Now, as for that game, I think that it has the potential to be like a game of the year type of game. One is just PlayStation, and PlayStation just keeps pulling those out of every hat that they possibly have. It's possibly like every IP that comes out with PlayStation, you have to expect it to be game of the year worthy. So I'm excited because I played Horizon Zero Dawn. Um, I didn't get to play the DLC, and I'm so mad at myself that I didn't get to play it. And I have a PC now, so I possibly will buy it again just to play it. But honestly, Horizon was really good, guys. Like if you have a PlayStation, you possibly played Horizon, and if you did, good. I mean, if you didn't, good. You know why good? Because now you can play it and still have an amazing time. Like so, it's you didn't even lose if you haven't played Horizon yet. So expect Horizon to be like literal, like they'll possibly not talk about anything else but Horizon. Of course they will. They're going to talk about a bunch of other games, because they did state on Twitter that hey, we have like about 20 games going for the PS5, and that's everybody's thing right now. Is like, why am I buying a PS5 when I'm still playing PS4 games, quote unquote. But hearing that, you know, it gets exciting. It gets exciting because you have to think out of those 20-ish games that PlayStation is working on, like 6 or 7 are going to be hits, like huge hits. Now, how they release those games, don't take everything with a grain of salt that PlayStation says, because you don't think they're going to drop like 10 in one year. So, expect it to come out like, four games a year. Maybe they have one game that they really advertise, and then the other three are like, hey, we have this too. You know what I mean? But yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for that game. Like, I think that's gonna be a huge reason to purchase the PS5. Now, would you be able to get your hands on them with the shortage? No. You got resellers still just ridiculous with how fast they are to purchase these consoles, that you have to be on your A game. If not, you lost out, and we'll be seeing you, my guy. Like, so, me, I haven't gotten a PS5 yet. Mainly reason is that I do have a really big PC, like a massively strong PC. So it's like it doesn't benefit me in any way to buy one. Uh, on top of that, it's like they are pretty hard to get. So it's like, even if I wanted one, do I want the hassle of like literally looking down at my phone and waiting for that perfect timing to purchase one? Nah, I might. But to stick on to PlayStation, God of War, the next installment of God of War, uh, they teased at the last presentation, near the end. Literally just gave us like the only tease. Um, and then again, this is another thing that Kratos, um, he was also introduced into Fortnite, and that is a trend, ladies and gentlemen. I need you guys to connect the dots with me and see that everything that has been advertised on Fortnite in one way or another tends to drop something big. You understand? They tend to really, like, try to get some buzz going through the Fortnite community because of how huge Fortnite is. So expect, again, that's something else that I do expect. Like, hey, you know what? Um, expect for some God of War, and possibly just cinematic at this point. You know, I if they give us gameplay for God of War, that would be phenomenal. But I don't think they're gonna go the gameplay route this presentation. Um, and as for other games, it's all about like what they're willing to do. I know that Days Gone sequel was pitched. I've heard a lot of good things about Days Gone. The sequel was pitched, but ultimately, Sony didn't want to go that route. Um, so you know, who knows? Maybe they do pick up Days Gone sequel, but as of right now, for those Days Gone fans, don't expect that to be coming out. But again, with it being PlayStation, and if they have their PlayStation presentation, I expect a lot of Horizon. Like if there's an hour, like think of 30 to 35 minutes of that hour presentation is going to be God of War teases with like full-fledged Horizon Forbidden West content, like massive. And then they'll give you guys, the little compilation of hey, we're working on this, we're working on this. um, so yeah, but again, you have to with this presentation, you have to take it like, oh well, that's cool and all, but would I even get to play it due to the fact of the shortage in the chip that the PS5 takes, and with that shortage, the PS5 is very limited right now, guys. And if you're paying, like I've seen upwards to 1,500, and it's probably even higher by now because PlayStation in itself is becoming that Yeezy, type of console where it's like it's so rare and it's so like demanding. Like people want it so badly that you can price tag it at ridiculous prices and still sell. So we did hear things over at Sony that they're trying to see if they can switch out that chip. I did read article about that. Oh, that or they're trying to manufacture more. Um, so we'll wait and see. But again, with the presentation of PlayStation, you have to say to yourself, if you do not have a PS5 at this current moment, do you say to yourself, I'm not even gonna watch that because most likely I'm not gonna get a chance to play it because I don't even have the console to play it on. But Horizon will be cross gen, so it will be for the PS4 as well. I have to almost believe that Sony cares about their fans enough to say, for games like Horizon, games like God of War, hey, it's gonna be cross gen, so you'll be able to play it on PS4. And then when you do have the actual luck to get it PS5, here you go. You know what I mean? Moving on over to Xbox, we spoke about it like the last five podcasts, and I'm speaking about it for a reason because um, Xbox doesn't need, but I would hope that they want to give the fans what they want already with Halo Infinite. I do not think Xbox has their back on the wall as much as they used to, especially with games and stuff like that. That I've been very vocal about my stance on Xbox. And for you Xbox fans and the people that do have a Series X, good for you guys because you guys were ahead of the game. With just the belief in that console to be like, hey, you know what? They got Bethesda. They're getting all these day one game releases for you guys on Game Pass. You know, uh, I'm excited. I'm truly excited to see what Xbox is gonna bring this year because now you have the best console in the world. You are clear cut the best console, and you've had it for a couple years now. And now you're getting studios. Or you purchased studios in the past. Now it's time for um those to start paying for themselves, so to speak. And with Bethesda, you have all these amazing games, and yeah, there's still some that are will be able to be played on the PlayStation, I believe. But one huge game coming out of Bethesda was Starfield. If you guys don't know what Starfield is a sci-fi RPG style game that will be solely exclusive to Xbox and PC. So you guys, if you are interested in Starfield and you were the person that purchased a PS5, I'm sorry for you, but you're still gonna have a ton of amazing games. But Starfield will not be one of those touching the PS5. And this is a huge, huge, huge win, huge W for Xbox. And why it's a huge W for Xbox? Because this is where you start to put your foot down and say, you know what, where's your excuse now? What excuses do you have now that we don't have games? What excuses do you have now that we don't have the best console on earth? Because it's clear. It's clear. Xbox is the better console. I was very vocal on how they needed these games, how they needed these first party games to be hits, and I really am gonna start to shift the tide over in favor of Xbox being that game that, you know, hey, I mean that's that system. Excuse me, that system that's like, yo, we're the big dogs now. You know, you get a couple of hit first party games, and now you're there toe to toe with PlayStation. You've been getting beaten and battered all I would say the past last decade. Uh but hey, you have a foot now. You have a foot in the ground now. You gotta start running. If you're Xbox. Games I would like to see. Obviously, Halo Infinite. You gotta come out. If you have an hour presentation, you have to think about what can Xbox fit in that hour. They could fit in Starfield. They could fit in a bunch of Bethesda games that were gonna come out that Bethesda hasn't announced yet. So it's gonna be like a Bethesda and Xbox conference, which technically is just an Xbox conference. um, so we're gonna see a lot. I think we're gonna see a lot. I think we're gonna see a lot of release dates. I think that this year is gonna be like the release date E3, where we're hoping and praying. Oh, is this gonna have a release date? And then it never does. It's always like, oh, 2022. Year of or quarter 3 2022. No, I think we're gonna see some dates, some actual April 15th, 2021, 2022. Excuse me, because 2021 passed. We're gonna see actual dates. We're gonna actually see Xbox start putting their foot on the necks of the gaming world right now. You know, and it all starts, and I really want to say how how tip of the spear Halo Infinite is. And it has to be Halo Infinite has to be your driving force. You hyped it up for the Series X and S. You hyped that game up for it to be not even released with the game, then to be delayed. And it's like that has to be a game that you say this presentation you don't like, oh well, hey, here's Halo cinematic. You show gameplay. Even if it ain't coming out until 2022 of first quarter 2022, or even year of 2022. You know what I mean? You show everything. You hype us up. You show us BR. You show us gunplay. You show us customization. You show us everything that you have because you've been working hard. You've been working hard. And you go out and you show. You start showing us everything we want to see. Because if you don't, and Halo looks like it sucks, how can we trust you with anything else, Xbox? This is not me getting on Xbox. But you have to agree with me if you're a fan of video games. If they can't even do their star player correctly, think about this as being like Xbox is Lakers and Halo is LeBron James. If you can't do your star player right, how does anybody under that player gonna think? Like how they gonna perform? Wow, they not even treating Halo good. Like our game ain't gonna be good either. That's how I see it, man. So you had to give Halo the max contract so to speak, theoretically, and you say, yo, you getting this Supermax contract, go out there and be great. And Halo's gonna be great. And then that gives me confidence for everything else that they tell me. You could tell me, yo, we giving you a game you ain't never heard of, a new IP called Krispy Kreme Donuts, and it's just you making Krispy. Oh, that game's gonna be fire because Halo looks fire. You know what I mean? You have to put you have to put your best foot forward, and I think that best foot is Halo. You don't go and like focus on anything else. I know they have Elden Ring. I know they have a couple of other games that they were showing last presentation, but and that's cool. Show me all that, but you gotta show me Halo. After the Halo that I seen in the last presentation, I'm wondering, do they got it in them? And you gotta be the person there sitting listening to this podcast telling yourself, yo, Felipe right, man. He right. What if Halo sucks? How can I have confidence in Xbox that Elden Ring is gonna be good? Halo is Microsoft's firstborn, basically. Can we not say? That's your firstborn child. You gotta put everything in that one. Because then what you could see how far you could get with the next one. Right or wrong. Maybe I'm wrong for thinking about this. Maybe I'm wrong for thinking like this. I don't want to say about this. Maybe I'm wrong for thinking like this. But again, it just you can't say much about Xbox needing to really show out. Like they showed a teaser to Perfect Dark. Never played Perfect Dark, but I know it's one of the pillars of Xbox. All right. A lot of people I've spoken to over the course of like my entire Xbox lifespan since I've had my first Xbox, I've always heard, "Oh, have you ever played Perfect Dark? Have you ever played Perfect Dark?" I've never played it. Stop asking me. But so you know that there's a huge community that wants this game. Will we see more of that? I'm hoping so for those people. So Xbox needs to come out and really show some good things. Like out the gate. Out the gate they need to come out and think. I don't think they need to prove themselves. I don't think they need to go above and beyond. Just hit the right notes and you'll be fine. You don't have to hit high notes. You know what I mean? You don't have to go out there and Mariah Carey us and hit the highest notes. But hit what you know. Hit the notes you know. Come on, Xbox, I believe. I wasn't a believer when I started this podcast. I was not a believer. I said, "Yo, guys, look back at the videos. I was very, very hard on Xbox, very hard on Xbox." And when I'm telling y'all, I believe now because of the steps they have taken since my first initial thought. You can only have belief in this company to say, you know what, we know where we fall short of like a really great gaming company. Like, yeah, we have the best console in the world, and even third party games, majority of the time, play best on Xbox. This is true. This is factual truth, Um, but now, are you guys just a console company, or, do you guys have the whole shebang? And we'll see it in the next few months when they have their presentation, or if they, do something for E3. But you have to come big. You have to come big, and I think the way they do that is, man, there is a lot of buzz around Halo and how people want to see Halo and their hopes for Halo. They're having the 20th uh year in Xbox. I think in November. They even started that early in May. So it's like, come on. You got 20 years of Xbox. In those 20 years, what's the one constant? Halo. 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 I talk about it too much. I know. Yo, Felipe, you talk about Halo every podcast. Shut up. No, I won't. Why? Because Halo is what's gonna make Xbox uh again become what we remember it to be. I remember if you ain't have a 360, you basically didn't have friends. You ain't have friends. You didn't have friends because only one other friend had a PS3 with you, and it was boring. You guys played for an hour and got off. Not me and my boys. We had Gears, we had Call of Duty, we had Halo. We had the games. And to get back to that form, I think you need to start with your big dog. You need to start with your number one, and you need to make sure that you ain't showing us what you showed us last year. Don't reintroduce nothing to us. We already seen what we saw. We want to see the improvements, and in those improvements, you generate even more hype. And again, I want to be a person to say it. They have Master Chief in Fortnite, so you know that the advertisement is there. Excuse me, I just sneezed. But God bless me. Thank you for saying it. Like you can't tell me you guys don't see Halo for 30 minutes in a presentation. And then Bethesda and Elden Ring and Starfield and all these games, bro. All these games they're gonna show. How can you trust any of them if they can't even do Halo right? So, Xbox, this is to you. I think you guys are great. I think you guys have been doing a phenomenal job in really showing that you guys care for your fans and want the best for your system. For a while there, I didn't think you guys had it in ya, but you definitely do. Not only do you definitely do, I think that you guys are possibly in line to really be um possibly the best presentation of the whole E3, conferences, Xbox conference, PlayStation conference. And this is me saying that with knowing that Horizon's going to be on the other side. This is me saying that with Nintendo possibly going to drop a couple of big bombs there. You know, there's a few games that need a little bit of crossplay action for you guys, and you guys are set. But moving on over to PlayStation, not PlayStation, excuse me. We just spoke about PlayStation, spoke about Xbox. Let's speak about PC and Nintendo. I'm gonna put those together because to be honest, I think PC. You're gonna see a lot of the like also on PC. Like you'll see like uh, PlayStation games that are for PlayStation and PC. You'll see Xbox games that are for Xbox and PC, and I think you're also going to see a bunch of like third party games just being on all consoles and all systems. That being said, I think there will be some like in between like events in the sense of like certain games showing off their game. I mean certain developers showing off their game. You'll get the hey, we're gonna be on PC and we're also gonna be crossplay. I think that's gonna be a big thing this year because everybody sees it now. Hey, you need crossplay in some form or another. It doesn't have to be full crossplay with every single platform, but you have your PlayStation could play with PC and sometimes with Xbox, and you'll have that in various ways. I think that the the PC master race is at an all-time high in the sense of how many players are converting to PC. You got games like Warzone that people want to play on PC. You got games on Fortnite that people want to play on PC. But you still have your traditional console players, but you're seeing a lot more players going to PC, and I think that the developers are starting to see that. And in that they're like, hey, you know what, we're gonna be releasing on Steam, we're gonna release on Epic, so see a lot of that, focus on that. I think that you guys would be okay. I'm one of those guys that does do PC, so I think we're gonna be fine. As for Nintendo, if they have their conferences, and I know they have, like, throughout the year they have their little Nintendo little presentations for like Pokemon and all sorts of games, So with Nintendo, I think expect the same thing. Expect like a Mario Party 23. I don't know what number they're up to. Expect Mario Kart. Expect Mario Tennis and golf. Like they're never gonna go away and say, "Oh my God, we have this new amazing dude that's coming out." So Nintendo is what Nintendo is, and it's gonna just stay Nintendo. They'll probably drop as I spoke on the last cast with Pro Daddy of Fair Shake. It's gonna possibly be like a drop of, oh, here's our 1080p resolution, full HD Switch, which you could probably chalk up to, hey, it's a little bit too late. For the Switch players that play like Monster Hunter and stuff like that, expect DLCs. Um, don't expect like um anything. I don't think that Nintendo uses that like presentation time for like to really do anything anyway. Um, so yeah, I think that's it. That's just about it for Nintendo. As for deals wise, because I know that E3 is a very huge like very huge thing in like video games, the video game industry. So there, I expect like a full like 50% off of some amazing games around that time. So be on the lookout for that, guys. Like I would say, hold if you're trying to buy anything. Hold your cash now. Hold your Bitcoin. Hold your Doji coin, whatever you call it. Um, because there's gonna be some phenomenal sales coming. Like guys, all jokes aside, there's going to be some great sales for video games coming. So be on the lookout for that. Um, so if there's a game that you guys want that's $60 right now, hold off, man. Hold off the month or two. You guys will be seeing some amazing sales coming up soon. For Steam, I think that they start soon as well. When I mean soon, take it with a grain of salt. It could be a month out, could be a month and a half out, but it also could be tomorrow. You never know. But until next time, ladies and gentlemen, this has been my little, predictions of how it might go with E3 and PlayStation presentation, and Xbox presentations, throughout the next couple of months. We wanted to do this early, or I say we as in myself. I wanted to do this a little bit earlier than like the week before because I want to look back on it, and I also want to have time to fix maybe some things that I didn't like, in the sense of, there's always stuff coming out, new articles and stuff, and I like to read them, especially nowadays. Um, and I might need to talk about it a little bit more, but hey, if you made it this far, again, I know these are been a little bit longer than I usually do. Well, today's is pretty short, but if you even got here to this point, I want to say I thank you very, very much. And I can't wait for you guys to be back here again. But until next time, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to know, have a good day. Have a good night. Get going because I know you got this. And ladies and gentlemen, goodbye.